Hey everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KE Report. I'm getting an update from Vizsla Silver, traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol VZLA, and on the NYSE under that same symbol VZLA. Just yesterday, November 27th, the company released 22 new drill results at the Copala resource area. Now, the company continues to infill and expand on this Copala resource area. I'll post figure 1 from the news release below this interview, which is a general map to show you where a lot of this drilling was located, where these results came from, a lot down to the southern portion of this resource area. And you can tell in a couple of the other cross sections, some of the other figures, that this area just didn't really seem as tied together as more that northern area. So, Mike, let's start off with, in terms of these results tying together that southern portion of the resource area, what did these show you? Are you able to put more resources down in that southern area?
Yeah, I think absolutely we'll be able to add more resources, outboard of our January 2023 resource. We're expecting in early part of next year to put out an updated resource, and this will all, either feed into that resource and we're after cut off, or into, resources in the future. But, really what we're showing here is, we're confirming strike growth and showing the potential for new splays in the area, which is all, very positive for Vizsla as a company and positive for shareholders, because this Copala structure continues to grow, and it's already a world-class, high-grade, very thick structure.
Now, some of the highlighted drill results: hole 304 returned over 1,700 grams per ton silver equivalent over almost 2 meters, and hole 300 returned about 724 grams per ton silver equivalent over a little bit more than 3 meters there. There are also some higher grade components within those drill results. What are you seeing in the south in terms of grade and widths compared to the rest of that resource at Copala?
Well, Copala as a whole is on average about 10 meters thick. And, towards the north, actually, our discovery hole was about 82 meters thick of, I think, well over 200 grams silver equivalent, with some very nice high grade pulses in there. So the south is, I think, going to be a little bit narrower than the 82 meters that we see up in the north. As a whole, Copala is very thick. It's 10 meters thick. It's, 5+ times the average thickness of structures in Mexico. So, Copala is by nature a thick, flatter line structure that carries very high grades, very, very high grades for Mexico. So, the south is a little bit more narrow than what we've seen in the past, but we're also starting to see splay structures like we've seen at Napoleon as well, which only adds to, the benefit that we see, with continual mining in the future. We'll see the main structure being targeted as well as splay structures, most likely.
Now, the news release does mention that you expanded Copala mineralization by about 100 meters to the southeast. We can see in that map those drill results down at the bottom of the map. Is it still open down to the south?
It is. Yeah. It's open both north and south along strike.
Now, will follow-up drilling continue to expand in this direction? Is this a priority for you?
It is. We still have 2 rigs on Copala, so it certainly is a priority for us to continue to explore Copala along strike. And I think there's going to be a lot of exciting surprises, not only with drilling Copala, but in the future when we have the opportunity to do underground testing there. I think Copala has all of these characteristics that I think will lend itself to further positive surprises in the future.
Let's also talk about some of these new vein splays that the company identified between Copala and the Cristiano structure. What's the significance of these?
Well, this is what we've seen elsewhere at Napoleon, and what we've seen historically in this district. These splay structures carry grade. They're not as thick as the main structure, but when you're underground, and drifting towards, say, the Copala structure, or doing underground development, instead of mining barren rock with no values, you have the potential now to monetize these veins, in a mining scenario. at least that's how we look at it. Of course, we're early. We need to do mine design studies and PEAs and things like that to fully understand how Copala 4, say, and the footwall splay and these other splays may fit into a mining scenario. But really, I think there's only a benefit in having mineralization underground next to your main structure that's high grade and has some thickness to it. So, we're very excited about that and looking forward to seeing, what role these emerging splays have, in a mine plan going forward and future economics of the project.
So let's talk about the remainder of the drill program. In that news release, it says you've completed about 100 meters short of that 90,000 meter program that was planned. What can you tell us about the potential of drilling more than that 90,000 meters and where some of the drill results that are still at the assay labs, where those are located?
We probably will go over that 90,000 meters. I mean, we have really a few more weeks before things kind of shut down in Mexico. And, we still are drilling La Luisa. That's been an emerging discovery for us. We're excited about that. Napoleon continues to have some, drill work happening there as well. And we're starting to see some, further growth there towards the south at Napoleon. We have drilled the Molino vein more, and we're excited about that. We're looking forward to seeing where that fits in news flow coming in the future here in the new year. And, Copala continues to be, this major focus for us with the 2 rigs at Copala right now. But, looking forward to 2024, the company is in such an exciting position to really add value for shareholders. We've got really a steady flow of major milestones that are both going to be centered around de-risking what we already have. So you could think about that as the potential for underground test mining, the potential for PEA in 2024, but also showing what we already have. So, updated resource, I think, is going to be excellent and looking forward to putting that out. But it really is that, there's this big question mark in my mind. And I think, when we think about the Panuco district and you think, okay, well, we've got 220 million ounces already. We're going to have a sizable update in 2024. There's probably been about 100 million ounces of silver equivalent taken out historically across the district, based on old mining records and what we know about the void spaces there. So, we're on track here to show already a major mining district in Mexico. Where is the other major discovery going to come from, or discoveries? And, our team has been working hard over the year. Our VPX, Dr. Jesus Velador and Dr. Peter McGaw have been working in our technical committee, trying to find really the pathway to the next major discovery like a Copala, and what the genesis of these resources that we have already, what's the commonality between them, how is that going to allow us to vector into new mineralization and make new discoveries. So the big question mark for me, we already know that we have a huge resource that we're going to de-risk and move forward in the West, but the question to me becomes, where else do we have centers of mass like this? And so looking forward into 2024, yes, we'll be drilling our resource areas, but I think that the big question mark upside is around where is the next big discovery coming from here? Because we know that this is a very fertile district for silver and gold.
Are there any insights you can give us on where some of those exploration targets are that it sounds like you will be drilling next year?
We certainly have a lot. If we were a public company, we just had the West, or we just had our center of mass that we have already in our presentations, we have a dotted line that circles it. But that was the only project that we had, or the only area of this project that we had. We could be drilling there for the next decade plus and probably still be making discoveries. I think it's just, incredibly fertile in terms of discoveries there. But we are also looking outside of that western center of mass. So we're looking in the center block of the district, the eastern block. The Prismo drilling has done well and made new discovery there. So, I think in the future, what you'd probably see is a district where you have the western, the Copala, the Napoleon. You have potentially another center of mass or two in the middle, and then several others, scattered throughout the district, potentially in the east as well. But, you can look to San Dimas to see what is possible here. I think there's a huge correlation or comparison that can be made between San Dimas and the Panuco district. San Dimas has produced over 600 million ounces of silver and over 10 million ounces of gold. We recently added Eduardo Luna to the board, and Eduardo, I know, Corey, when we were down there together, you would, I think, had a chance to meet Eduardo, and Dr. McGaw was there as well at the same time. And it was a great time to have these gentlemen to the project, because they've seen these billion ounce districts in Mexico, and I think it's pretty clear that the potential, the blue sky, what we see here as the upside for Vizsla is to become one of these billion ounce districts in Mexico, billion ounce silver equivalent. And the comparison and the correlation between San Dimas, which is about 80 kilometers away, and Panuco, I think, is getting clearer and clearer each day, and after every release. And so if you go back and read the quote from Eduardo Luna, he's agreed to join our board because of his experience of first of all building San Dimas for Luzmin, and then being a part of Wheaton River when it bought San Dimas, or bought Luzmin, his company, for San Dimas, and then the growth of San Dimas building Goldcorp, and then the stream basically building Wheaton Precious Metals, which is one of the world's great mining companies now that doesn't even own a mine. So he's been involved, in very many iterations of the San Dimas mine and successful monetization of it through multiple different companies. And, he's been great help for us so far at Vizsla, and really helps us kind of understand what's possible here at our Panuco project, looking at it through the lens of San Dimas.
So one more quick question before I get you out of here then. It sounds like still so much exploration, but you did mention potentially going into some sort of underground test mining at Copala. How do you balance out your team and the focus of still having all this exploration, but then at least potentially showing a path to some sort of production?
It's important to make sure that the exploration team is focused on exploration and discovery, and that the de-risking or mine development team is focused on exactly that. And then, they both have their focuses, and they're not distracted by each other's goals. So, I think operationally there are some steps that we can take to optimize that going into 2024. But, typically you would hire a contractor to do the underground test mining, same way that you hire, a drill contractor for your exploration. So we have an excellent team. Dr. Jesus Velador has done, an incredible job so far as our Vice President of Exploration. Marty Dupuy, our COO, has, done a great job of guiding the project forward, as well as Hernando Riuda, who's our Director of Mexico. So we have a very strong team at the project, and, they're responsible for the excellent outcome that we've had so far. But I think, looking forward into 2024, we should see the company get even more prepared for next steps, like the potential for a mining scenario.
All right, Mike, thank you very much for this update. I'll post a link to the news section on the Vizsla website. I'll also follow up with Mike as we get some more news, but please, everyone, keep sending me your questions for Mike, and I will get those addressed in future interviews. Mike, thank you very much for the update. I'll follow up with you on the back of some more news.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate it.